And as you heard there, golf legend Tiger Woods recovering from a lengthy surgery to repair significant injuries to his lower body after a scary car crash in California. We're going to have plenty of details on that throughout the show.
Rachel, we both spent some time out there in California. I've been to this area, and I think one of the things that gets missed when you watch this on the networks that are looking at it sort of from that 10,000-foot perspective is these roads are dangerous.
That's the thing. It's an area south of LA.
Yeah.
It's a steep road. Neighbors there, if you watched any news coverage yesterday talking about that area, if you haven't been there, it's a very steep road. It's not super unlikely to have a crash there. Unfortunately, that was the case yesterday. Still learning details of what exactly led up to that, but it is a windy, steep road.
Yeah, we're thinking about Tiger Woods right now. We're going to get into that in just a minute. Want to welcome in the panel as you wake up on this Wednesday morning. We start with our White House correspondent, Emerald Robinson. USA Strong Executive Director Erin Elmore with us this morning. Political analyst Mark Halperin is here, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps with us as well. I want to play a quick soundbite from the weekend. Tiger was on with Jim Nance. He was covering a golf tournament. Tiger, of course, not playing golf. He had his 5th back surgery in December, but he was on talking about how optimistic he is that maybe he'd be playing in the Masters in April. Take a listen.
7 weeks from today, final round of the Masters. You going to be there?
God, I hope so.
Him well and praying for him.
It's one of these situations where, especially where we live sort of this day and age, speculation almost starts instantly. The press conference yesterday, the CHP, the police, the fire department, they made it very clear that they did not suspect any alcohol. But with Tiger Woods, he's had addiction problems in the past. He's got an HBO. There's a documentary about him right now that chronicles this pretty thoroughly. When is it okay to start speculating? Because we're not going to get an accident reconstruction report from the CHP. It's going to take some time for all of the facts to come out in this case. But in the meantime, the speculation will begin. What happened? Why? Was he distracted? Was he on his phone? Who knows?
The only thing we should be speculating about is how Tiger's children and girlfriend and ex-wife are doing, the mother of his children. I live in Jupiter, Florida, where Tiger Woods lives. I have met his children. I've met his children's friends. These are nice kids who are worried about their father today. And all we can do is hope that he recovers from these several surgeries quickly and speedily, and that his children are comforted and feel loved today. And my heart truly goes out to the family. I hope that this was just a horrible accident. I wish that it never occurred, but really I think the focus should right now be on the family and how important they are to him and how important our families are to us. And we just hold our children tight and know that life is precious.
Yeah, Erin, I know, of course, you're a mom too. So I know that that's where the focus should be. And I'll tell you what, yesterday I was watching some of the coverage on ESPN and they were talking about, how likely his return to golf will be.
Package we passed last year, we did on a bipartisan basis. There was almost no opposition to most of those bills.
Thoughts on some of the pork that's in this bill? I mean, right now I've got Senator Marsha Blackburn, Tennessee, coming on a little bit later to talk about this. But there is, if you really look at the numbers, less than 1% addresses vaccinating America, and only about 9.5% actually goes toward COVID relief. Pretty shocking.
I mean, thank God none of these Democrats are kosher, because there is so much pork in every bill that comes out of Washington these days. It's absolutely insane. When we saw the stimulus relief of $600, $1,200, where was the money for these kids that have been out of school, helping them in their homes? A lot of these children don't have internet. The money is not being directed to any of the people that actually need it. It's just special interest and lobbying groups. And that's what the American people need to understand and start changing their votes for, because this is not the way our country was intended to run. Our founders and framers would be absolutely disgusted by the legislation and pork barreling that's just frankly coming out of Washington. It's sick and it needs to stop.
Yeah, Chris, there's a lot in this bill that has nothing to do with COVID relief. A lot of downloaded this, 4 million in 2020 alone. The best thing about 18 is the mark. He's got 82
Jack
wins.
Nicklaus the only one to have more major wins.
The only one, and when he didn't win for a decade, people started to root for him again. And then in 2019, he won the Masters. We're now 40 days away from the Masters at Augusta National down in April down in Augusta, and you see
It'll
this
be a
news.
different Masters this year.
Sure. Our panel this morning, our White House correspondent Emerald Robinson is with us again. Emerald, good morning. USA Strong Executive Director Erin Elmore is here. Political analyst Mark Halperin back with us, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps is with us. Mark, quick question.
they're obviously concerned about protecting him more than they are about public disclosure.
Yeah.
The nomination, if he runs, I mean, a lot can happen between now and 2024. So, and I'm not great at predicting. I subscribe to Yogi Berra's philosophy in that regard. He said, I don't like predicting, particularly if the future's involved.
I expect the president to say we are hearing that included in his speech is that he is most certainly still the leader of the Republican Party.
Everyone is very excited for his speech, but I think we should all stand corrected here. President Trump wasn't impeached twice. He's a two-time impeachment champion. So let's all just make sure we have that straight.
Right.
I'm kidding, but it sounds amazing. I think everyone is really having all eyes on CPAC. They want to see what President Trump is going to say. What are his next moves? What's next on the agenda? Because he's been relatively silent. Granted, the mainstream media and the technocrats have silenced him, but CPAC is going to be a great opportunity for President Trump to connect with the base, get out some really solid messaging, talk about next steps. So Sunday will be a big day for the Republican Party. Some of the rhinos might have to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because they thought they were up to bat again. I assure you they're not.
All right. We've got Chris, do you think that Donald Trump's we don't expect any sort of formal announcement on Sunday, but I think he's also wants to make it clear that he's going to be campaigning on behalf and against people during these midterm elections. Chris Arps, Mark Halperin, Emerald Robinson, Erin Elmore, all back with us here. Emerald, I've already got you laughing.
And they're using this.
Sorry, I was more just like, I couldn't help but comment. I didn't mean to interrupt you at all, Emerald. I just can't take one more minute of this nonsense. It's like, am I taking crazy pills? As John Kerry drives around on his private jet and on his diesel boat and on his not environmentally friendly house in Nantucket that's like a mega mansion. Like, enough already. Practice what you preach. Can one Democrat politician please just practice what they preach? It's Nancy Pelosi in the hair salon without the mask, Gavin Newsom at the French Laundry, Lori Lightfoot of Chicago getting her hair done saying, well, I'm an elected official. I can't take much more of this, and I'm very sorry, Emerald. I did not mean to interrupt you.
No,
why are you leaving out Governor Whitman's husband's vote?
Everyone's want to know. Where does that timeline come from? And what they're using it for is to justify speeding up the progressive policies that fundamentally changes our economy.
I have a tough time.
They pick a number out of the hat. They're like 7 years.
Yeah,
that's
literally.
the number. Magic number.
I mean, do you guys remember The Inconvenient Truth? Al Gore?
Yeah.
When that whole thing came out, he was like, his voice, the lockbox, the world was going to end, Mark. I know you and Al Gore are close. But, he said the world was going to be over by now, 2021, and we're still here. I'm still standing as on Martha's Vineyard. I think he's got a $4.5 million oceanfront estate.
It was on Nantucket. It's now on Martha's Vineyard.
Now it's on Martha's Vineyard.
Well, excuse me.
It would be one thing.
Got richer, right?
When I hear these elitists.
Sea level rise.
Right, when you're buying oceanfront properties.
Buy for him.
Right, Bill Gates just bought like a $20 million place in Southern California right on the water. If the ocean is going to rise, why are you buying beachfront property? Shouldn't that be the cheapest property right now? I always say, there's this hotel that I've stayed at down in Florida, and it's right on the beach. It's been there. It's in St. Petersburg. It's been there since like 1905. When you go in there and you look at the pictures from, when they opened up the hotel and everyone's in those funny old bathing suits that were like made of wool, the beach looks exactly the same right now as it did over 100 years ago. So, like, where's the sea level rise?
Gotta tell you something.
Yeah, that's scientific right there.
Well, I will not make the mistake about Martha's Vineyard again. Now I know he's on the vineyard.
Yeah, and he's not like reduce, reuse, recycle. He's not composting his toilets. He's not riding a bike to work. We're talking about Bill Gates and John Kerry. Like, it's just so elitist. If it was Bernie Sanders, I would be a little bit more understanding listening to it because I think he does somewhat practice what he preaches. Like, I'm sure Bernie Sanders recycles, but when you hear John Kerry, it's just not believable at all to me.
Yeah, and I think John Kerry, I know on his second marriage, he got rich because of her family money. I think his first marriage was the same way. So it's not even like he earned any of it with his own blood, sweat, and tears, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
He's spending all these other people's money talking about saving the environment while he's on a private jet that his wife financed.
Teresa Hines. I mean, Mark, you covered that 04 campaign when he was out there with the Livestrong bracelet on a windsurfer. To kind of go off that, the question was, well, when will people that have received both doses, elderly people in particular, grandparents, parents out there, be able to hug their grandkids again? And the CDC is deflecting, saying, well, maybe not just yet, even though you're vaccinated. I thought that was the whole point of the vaccine, was to get us back to normal, Emerald. Fauci, and then we'll move on.
He's like the longest serving bureaucrat in Washington, and I feel sorry for these grandparents that aren't hugging their grandchildren when life is already so short and so precious. I know some people are afraid of the virus, but the survival rates are extremely high, and I wish people would feel more capable to make better decisions for themselves than listening to some bureaucrat that's very self-interested, both financially, personally, and politically.
I'll just give you a final thing that I found interesting yesterday. The state of North Dakota, obviously, one of the least populated states in the country, they have now they passed a bill 50 to 44 in the lower chamber banning mandatory face masks.
Hello there. Opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities. It is not a replication, certainly not.
Back in our panel this morning, we start with White House correspondent Emerald Robinson, USA Strong Executive Director Erin Elmore with us this morning, political analyst Mark Halperin here, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps. Good to see everyone. Emerald, you are giggling at the kids in cages. It was a little over 2 years ago that they were trying to say, no, this is the Trump White House, and this is now. And it was not true.
Well, it's like tomato.
When Merrick Garland said that a day ago, Erin, I was stunned. You're about to be Attorney General. You're not hanging your shingle up in Presque Isle, Maine or something, opening up a mom and pop law office. I mean, this is the biggest issue right now besides Hunter Biden and Andrew Cuomo.
Well, no one's talking about Hunter Biden, of course. Why would they? But yeah, they have created a problem that for now they don't have a solution. And to Jen Psaki, I would say, share the news. Don't be the news. She is so horrible at her job that she becomes the story every single day. As someone who went to journalism school, honestly, I think she needs to go back to 101 because there's a few lessons that she could learn. Having said that, this problem at our border is really a problem. What does it tell every person who's waiting in line, doing the right thing, working hard in their home country to get here, that if you just go to the southern border, you can hop right over and you get all of the beauties of being an American citizen? Also, what do we say to Obama, who told Governor DeSantis in my great state of Florida, oh, we have a new COVID variant, you're going to have to shut the border. So wait a minute. Florida's going to have to shut their border, but our southern border that's let 25,000 people into our country without COVID testing, that's totally kosher. There's so much hypocrisy. There's so much wrongdoing. There's so many problems that need to be solved. It just seems like they're creating a completely untenable situation.
Well, yeah, Chris, the Citizenship Act right now is in the Senate. They need 10 votes. It's got to get to 60. They've got, of course, right around 50 with all the Democrats.
Seems like anything
dealing with the Obamas
is evergreen.
They will come. The Democrat Party just salivates like Pavlov's dog at the idea of the word Obama.
Yeah, I know. It's just very, very bizarre. All right,
So
panel.
I guess it didn't include, it was produced before Springsteen got picked up for driving under the influence.
Sarps, really enjoy it. Mark, good to see you again. Emerald, great to have you in the 8 o'clock hour. That's a treat for us.
Good
Great
to see you guys.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Have a great rest of your day. See you guys.